Ahoy there, I'm Captain Chris. I'm not a real captain, but in this video I'm going to show you the differences between a cruise on this ship, the MSC Virtuosa, and this one, Virgin Voyages Resilient Lady, to help you to decide which one you should choose for your holiday. And this information will be broadly the same for their sister ships, Meraviglia, Grandiosa, Bellisima and Euribia for MSC, and the Scarlet Lady, Valiant Lady and Brilliant Lady for Virgin Voyages. If you're planning a cruise holiday, the first thing to say is that Virgin Voyages are only for guests aged 18 and over, so they're not an option if you're travelling with children. Although if you're not travelling with children, that means that you won't be travelling alongside other people's children either, which you might think is a good thing. So let's start with the general appearance of both ships. Virtuosa has a large central atrium, which is the hub of the ship, and it's very shiny and smart. It has an amazing sparkly staircase where everyone wants a photo taken, and everywhere on board seemed fresh and clean, and there's a glass lift on either side of the ship that gives you great views out to sea, as well as plenty of ordinary lifts as well in case you don't have a head for heights, and the glass lift might just freak you out. Virgin ships have a very cool contemporary vibe about them. There's not so much of an atrium, just this area called the roundabout, but the whole ship seems very relaxed, and Virgin's signature red theme appears quite often. There was a difference to be seen in the cabins too. We had a balcony cabin on both ships, but we noticed the bathroom was much smaller on Virgin's Resilient Lady because the room itself was longer. There was a closet to the side of the door with a curtain across it, whereas on MSC's Virtuosa there was a proper wardrobe and a much bigger bathroom. Both cabins had a fridge, but on MSC it's a mini bar in order to try to sell you some drinks. MSC don't allow you to take any drinks on board with you, but you can take a bottle of wine each on a Virgin voyage and keep it in your fridge to enjoy in your cabin before you head out for the evening. Another really cool thing about the cabins on Resilient Lady was the tablet that you used to control everything in your room. You turn the lights on and off with it, you can draw the curtains and even use mood lighting and mood music to create exactly the atmosphere you want. The main thing that sets Virtuosa apart though is the Galleria Virtuosa. This is a street of nearly 100 metres, lined with bars, lounges, restaurants and shops, and above it is this incredible LED ceiling. The ceiling has constantly changing scenery from blue skies to dinosaurs. It's impossible to ignore, and it's the thing you'll remember about Virtuosa long after you've forgotten everything else. Overall, I'd say that Virgin ships are cooler and MSCs are flashier, but that ceiling is incredible. I loved it. Next to the food. Now, I can't really tell you which ship serves the best food because we all have different tastes. What's delicious to me might be horrible to you. But there are some big differences in the dining experience between these two cruise lines that are well worth knowing about. On MSC's Virtuosa, there are 4 huge main dining rooms called Symphony, Opera, Minuetto and the Blue Danube, and they all serve the same menu as each other at fixed dining times that are only allocated to you once you're on board. In fact, which table you sit at, which restaurant and at what time is printed on your cruise card. Guests who pay the higher Aurea fare have one extra restaurant to use and flexible dining times apply in there, but if you don't pay that higher fare then it's the main restaurants for you or the buffet. In addition to that, there are some other restaurants you can use, but these come at an extra cost. There's a steakhouse, a sushi bar, a taco place and 1 or 2 others, but these are fairly pricey considering that you've already paid for a meal in the main restaurant that you won't be having. On Virgin Voyages, all of the restaurants are included in your fare, and there are some exceptionally good ones. Extra Virgin is an Italian restaurant. Pink Agave is Mexican. The Wake does steak and seafood, which was really very good indeed. Then there's a Korean barbecue place, Razzle Dazzle, the test kitchen where they serve a multi-course tasting menu, and then there's loads of more casual places to eat like the pizza place and bar food in many places. All of these come at no extra charge, and you can book a time to suit you or just turn up and walk in, although you may have to queue at peak times if you haven't booked. Back on Virtuosa, their buffet is one of the best I've ever seen, with pizza and pasta a speciality, and they make their own mozzarella on board. There's plenty more besides that though. In fact, the selection is absolutely enormous. It's always absolutely packed in there, but we always found a table and really enjoyed everything we had. Virgin Voyages say they don't do a traditional cruise ship buffet. Instead, they have the galley up on deck 15. Instead of taking a plate and helping yourself, you can either ask for what you want at the various serveries, or you can raise a little red flag at your table and someone will take your order and bring your food over. There's a huge choice in the galley, from burgers, tacos and toasties to sushi, healthy bites and sweet treats. The selection varies at Bento Baby and Diner and Dash, which is the American diner, so it's always worth checking back each day, and there are free drinks at Tap That Hot and Tap That Cold, or speciality coffee and tea at the Grounds Club at an extra cost. We thought that the food was excellent on both ships, but Virgin Voyages give you a lot of choice for no extra money, whereas on MSC you're limited to the main restaurants at a fixed time unless you pay extra. Dress code now, and neither ship enforce any strict dress code. Lots of people dress very smartly, but plenty of people don't, and nobody minds. There are plenty of cruise lines with a much more formal dress code, but MSC and Virgin Voyages are very relaxed. MSC do like a themed party night where you can dress up in 70s style or all in white or some other theme, and Virgin have a Scarlet night where you're encouraged to wear red, but none of it's compulsory. It does help to add to the party atmosphere in the evenings though. Virgin have their Scarlet night party around the pool, and there's always someone who jumps into the water fully clothed, so it's worth going up and watching the fun even if you're not joining in. With regards to the entertainment venues on board, there's plenty to do both daytime and evening. Virtuosa has a large theatre on board with shows bookable and repeated 3 times a night. There's a second theatre at the back of the ship, and although the shows there do cost extra, they were only £9 when we went to see a show called Alchemia, and that included a free cocktail, which I thought was a bargain. On the Resilient Lady there is a theatre called the Red Room and a nightclub called the Manor, and these have shows most nights on a first come first served basis. One show that's not to be missed is called Persephone. All the theatre seats are removed and the audience stands around and the performers move between them. There are topless men climbing the walls and cavorting, and women dancing around poles or dangling from the chandelier. It's a fantastic, breathtaking cheese dream of a show, and I didn't really know what was going on, but it was great, so make sure you see it. During the daytime there's quizzes and games, fitness classes, there's a gym on both ships. Resilient Lady had some old school arcade games like Pac-Man and Space Invaders, which were free to play, and a room full of board games, but Virtuosa has a fantastic sportplex area. There's a lot of stuff for kids to do in here, but adults will be entertained too, not least by the Formula 1 simulator and the 4D cinema where the seats move in time with the show you're watching, and more arcade games and virtual reality games to have a go with, plus 10-pin bowling and loads of other stuff. Kids and adults will love all this, but although it's much bigger and better than what's on Virgin's Lady ships, all of the games on MSC are charged for, so you could rack up quite a hefty bill if you're not careful. You can buy a pass to make it a bit cheaper. So which of these two cruise lines is better value? Before I tell you, can I just ask you to hit the subscribe button and allow notifications to make sure you know when I post another video. It means a lot to me when viewers become subscribers, so please hit that button. Thank you. Now, on the face of it, Virgin Voyages look to be generally more expensive than a comparable MSC cruise. But when you allow for the inclusive Wi-Fi on Virgin, the restaurants all being included in the fare rather than paying extra for the speciality dining on MSC, the free arcade games, being allowed to take your own wine, we even got some free onboard credit, then suddenly the difference between the two doesn't seem that much. Of course, if you've got tremendous self-discipline and you only drink the inclusive drinks, explore the ports independently, go without the Wi-Fi, only dine in the main restaurants, only watch the free shows, you could probably spend absolutely nothing on board on an MSC cruise, and then it probably would be the cheaper of the two cruise lines. But I don't think I've got that much self-control. So which one should you choose? Well, MSC's Virtuosa is shiny and sparkly with that fantastic LED ceiling. It's cheaper on the face of it, but everything on board costs extra, from the robot bartender to the sportplex, the speciality restaurants, the movies on the TV in your cabin, and you can't take any drinks on board with you. Virgin feels cool and contemporary and grown up. You can try all of the restaurants at no extra charge, the Wi-Fi is included, and you can drink your own wine in your cabin. And the cabins are cleverly controlled with a tablet, although those bathrooms are a bit on the small side. Virtuosa has more on board because it's a much bigger ship, but the Resilient Lady felt more relaxed for having fewer passengers, and we could always find a seat in the evenings, which we couldn't on Virtuosa. So decide what's important to you and take your pick. Whichever ship you choose, I hope you have a great holiday, and until next time, thanks for watching.